Hey guys, it's Kenny. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we will be building Skyshore's entrance with a few spectators here, Goldie, Derwin, and Scoot. I hope you guys are as excited as I am because I love building entrances. I think it's so much fun. Before we start the video, I wanted to let you know about my 400 Nook Miles tickets giveaway. And all you have to do is 1, be subscribed to my channel, and 2, go to my original video, my introduction video, which will be linked in the card and in the description, and comment your favorite villager. Mine is Derwin right here behind me. And that's it. You'll be entered to win 400 Nook Miles tickets when I reach 1,000 subscribers. Now, you may be wondering why it is sunny out and not raining because this is a rain-themed island. Well, I thought it would be fun to design it in the sunshine and then show you a grand final reveal at the end of the rain, just so that it would really cement the ambiance and show you the vibes that I'm trying to create here. I'm so excited to start, so let's jump into this build. So when I begin a build, I start getting a small idea of how I want the cliffs to look by laying down a very rough and jagged version of where I want them to go. With this build, I wanted to have 2 cliffs, one on the left, one on the right, and each of them having 2 tiers to put items and trees and other stuff on top. You'll see that I am doing the outline first, and then I'll be going in and filling them in and creating the curves on the edges to make sure they look nice and organic. I know some people struggle with terraforming, so one of the best tips I can give you is to pick up the shovel and just go for it. For me, it's hard to have a super strict plan, and then I feel like I have to stick to it, or I get so wrapped up on one idea that I don't have room for new ones. I feel it's so fun putting on that terraforming hat and just going for it. Now I'm starting to like the look of the left one, so I'm going to go over to the right and mimic it, but in a smaller fashion, just so that we have some variety and different sizes so that it doesn't feel super symmetrical. I want to create a very tight and cozy vibe so that when you walk through this entrance, you are led to either resident services or a different pathway, but I wanted to be sure that it's easy for those coming in and out to know exactly where to go. Now I'm starting to lay down some pathing, and for the main tile or path of my island, I chose this mossy brick that I imagine it in the rain, and I can hear my rain boots stepping on it as puddles fill up the crack. Now, if you want to use any of the design codes that I use on this island, I will have a Google Doc in the description, and you can go on there and look at every single code that I will be using from here on out. You can see me adding a few little, what I call accent custom designs, the little stepping stones in the puddle, and those are usually my favorite to work with because they're a great way to fill space, but also break up the pathway and make the area a little more dynamic. Now I am starting to build up the second tier on the left cliff, and I'll do so on the right soon as well. And I'm starting to notice that there's not enough space for the third tier to fit a tree or fit a lot of items at all. So what I do a lot in my builds is I'll keep the same shape that I originally created, but I'll pull it more over to one side. In this case, I'm pulling it more left so that I can keep the shape that I liked and still have room to build and add trees. After I have a good sense of how the second tier is looking, I'm going to start adding a few of the trees that I know I'm going to have placed just to get a sense of that vertical dimension and to be sure that everything fits well together and that the trees I'm using are looking good. And as I come over to the right side, you'll see that I'm building it up a lot more than I actually intended because I just realized I wanted more space to create a grander and greater entrance. As I come over to put this tree in and start building up the second layer, I notice that I do not have a lot of space to work with at all. So I ended up extending this right section of cliff out a ton. But as I said before, you'll see me keeping the original shape that I really enjoyed by pulling it further right. We're so close to finishing all the terraforming, we just have one more corner left. And it's filled in, yay! Now with the little trees up here, I cut down a stump because I love using stumps to decorate. Now we are finally getting to the items. Now, as you can see, the gazebo is the star of the show alongside with this garden bench that I just love. Now, I'm placing down a mantis model, and you'll notice that I love to use bug models because there are quite a few in this build, and I think bug models just make it so much more natural and organic, and I think they really liven up the place. I'm adding a little cruiser bike back here and a wheat field. Oh my goodness, the wheat field is such a fun item. I'm so glad they added it in the 2.0 update. And then I also add in the curved street light to bring some light into the area, and using another one of my favorite items, Rover's briefcase. Now I'm coming back over here and I start to notice that this cliff is a little more open than I'd like it to be. So I'm kind of toying with bringing it in closer so that, again, it's easier for the player to be guided to where I want them to go. Now I'm coming up here to start doing some item placing with this beautiful simple well, and I love this item especially for this rain-themed island because I can just imagine the sounds of the water dripping down into the well on a really harsh rainy day. Then I'm jumping back over to the left side and adding one of my favorite combinations of items. The snail on top of the stone stool is just so freaking adorable. I love it so much, and I think it's a great combination. Now I'm adding a cute little bunny friend behind here because I felt a little touch of brown would accent the trees and the garden bench a little more. Now I'm placing some weeds, and if you use weeds in Animal Crossing, you know that it never wants to give you the one that you want. I was looking for the clover, and I finally got it. Yay! Love the clover, it's so cute. Now, usually I'm not too picky about weeds if they're hiding behind, let's say, a cliff or something, but for cases where they're showing up in the entrance or somewhere prominent, I try to get the ones that I like. Now I'm taking down the gazebo and creating a little connection path underneath so that it's not just one straight block of the same path, and I broke it up by using some stepping stones, and later you'll see me placing down a few bits of grass and clovers. Now I'm coming in with this cute little green leaf pile to add some motion when you walk through. And now as I'm up here, I'm adding one of my favorite items of all time in Animal Crossing. It's been around since the original Animal Crossing game, the deer scare. I think it makes such a pretty noise, and I definitely wanted to hear it every time I came to my island, every time I walked through my entrance. Coming back over to the right, I'm adding a few more items like this cute little gyroid. I think it looks like a frog, and just like bug models, I think gyroids are such a fun way to spice up an area and add a little bit of sound. I'm going in to decorate this top portion with a little yellow butterfly because I wanted to add splashes of blue, and you'll see me doing that through some flowers and a few more custom designs like the puddle to also reinforce that idea of rain and water in Skyshore, just so it breaks up the green. We're finally coming in and starting to add some flowers. The main flower I used was the green mom because I think it's just such a pretty flower and it makes the entrance feel so natural and cozy, and I just think they're such a pretty flower. Now we're adding a cute little decoy duck, and I love this customization. It is so adorable. Now I'll start to decorate this little part of the cliff, and originally I didn't know what I wanted to add over here. I wasn't sure what items I might include, but you'll see later that I did decide on something really fun. Now behind cliffs and in areas where you can't see, like I was saying, I usually put more of the same flower I've been using or some weeds that don't really matter, just so that stuff doesn't spread where I don't want it to. Now I'm decorating this little top portion with some more natural scenery, another bug model, and even a beautiful garden wagon. Now as we get back to the first level on both cliffs, we're going to add even more flowers and more weeds and more shrubbery just to make it feel super natural. And as I come over here to this left cliff, I'm adding a few more custom designs to break up the flowers, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to add a ton of items over here because you can't see it as well, but I ended up deciding on the wild log bench because it kind of brings in the dark tones from the cedar trees and the garden bench that I used and disperses the colors more evenly. Now I'm adding more weeds, more flowers to this top portion to make it feel nice and natural. As we come back to this right cliff, I started adding more shrubs and weeds again, but I finally decided on what I wanted to do. I decided to create a little reading bench. As you'll see, I placed down a little bamboo bench and a few bottles and even a little book so that you can come up here by a vine and walk on these little stepping stones and take in the scenery and read a good book. I'm adding in a few more finishing touches like this little stone and another awesome gyroid friend. Yay! This leaf umbrella is so adorable along with the mush lamp. There's two really natural items that you can kind of place anywhere on almost any island that make the area nice and green. Now, I came back up here because I thought this cliff was a little plain, and I decided to put a little gnome friend here. Hello, gnome. Finally, we're going to the background of the cliffs, or at least to where you might lead out into resident services. And we're putting in a few more trees to create that vertical depth and variety so that when you walk through, you can see even more trees and natural elements. Coming back up with a few more finishing touches like this cute little ducky and a little balloon so that when it's really windy you can see it move, and it's very tall so it varies from the duck and the leaf. I'm coming over to the left and right beaches because you can see them when you walk in, and I figured I'd just put some weeds or some flowers, but I ended up deciding to put a few items like this little mushroom with a ladybug on top. Over here, I'm putting the wheat field item and a few more flowers and weeds. Now we're coming over into the entrance with a few final touches, and I think we are just about done. So, here it is, Skyshore's entrance. I love it so much. The greens and the blues and the browns are so pretty. I'll let you take it in. Hey guys, so what'd you think? I am in love with this entrance. I think it is so beautiful, and I love all the vibrant colors and how everything goes together. But wait, isn't this supposed to be a rain-themed island? Well, if you grab an umbrella and follow me, I'll show you what it's like on rainy Skyshore. So, what do you think of Rainy Skyshore? I think all of the items and all of the color choices just fit the rainy vibe so well. I love to hear my feet pitter-patter on this path, and I know my villagers love it too. I love how cute they look and their little rain outfits. Aren't they just adorable? I hope you guys enjoyed this video so much, so please leave a comment on what your favorite item or your favorite section of this build is. I would really appreciate it if you guys liked and subscribed if you really enjoy Animal Crossing content so that you can stay updated and see more rainy builds like this on Skyshore. I hope you guys enjoyed this build as much as I do, because now I want to hang out here all the time and invite people over just to see the look on their faces when they're greeted by this rainy entrance. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you later. Bye.